I was 10 years old. It was my first year at summer camp. And all the other kids seemed to be on a higher plane of maturity than I was. They wore basketball jerseys, they owned stereos, they talked about REM and Weird Al Yankovic and Belle Biv DeVoe. There was David Steisley, who was on some kind of wrestling team back home and liked to put me in headlocks and nicknamed me Killer for reasons he never explained. There was Seth Rodriguez, who after the first inter-camp carnival with the girls' camp came home to the bunk and announced to all of us that he had ended the evening with 10 girlfriends and that he gave 5 of them to another boy. I didn't even know what that meant. I still don't think I know what that means. I still slept with a stuffed animal at home. It was my teddy bear. His name was Very Big. I named him when I was 3 because he was very big. But when it came time to go to summer camp, I couldn't bring Very Big with me because he was too big. And I wanted to hide whatever stuffed animal I brought. So I brought Very Big's surrogate. It was Timmy the toucan. It was this small stuffed bird about this big, black, white, big rainbow-colored beak. And Timmy spent every day inside a series of plastic bags in the bottom drawer of my dresser at summer camp. And then at night, I would wait until the lights were out and everyone had gone to sleep. I would sneak out of bed, I'd open the drawer, carefully take Timmy out of his bags and bring him into bed with me. But on this one particular night, 4th of July actually, I could not fall asleep, and Timmy was not going to be any help because I had a huge problem, and it was a problem I couldn't solve. The problem was that I really had to pee. This sounds like an easy problem to solve, doesn't it? But there was no toilet inside the bunk. The toilet was in the bathhouse, and the bathhouse was down this long dirt path, and outside the wind was howling, and the rain was coming down in sheets. Even though it was July, it was freezing out, and I could hear the screen door of the bathhouse just slamming in the distance. And so to go pee, I would have to get up. I was sleeping in my underwear, so I'd have to put on all my clothes and a raincoat and a poncho and an umbrella and my flip-flops. I'd have to go out through the mud to the dirty, smelly bathhouse and come back. I'd have to hang everything else up and it would all have to dry overnight. And then I was going to have to get in the bed, and the bed was not going to be warm anymore. And that's when I got the worst idea I have ever had in my life. I would pee in the bed, just a little bit, and then I could fall asleep. Now, I'm not a bedwetter. I've never been a bedwetter. This remains the only time that I have ever wet the bed in my entire life, and it was a conscious, rational decision. So, I started peeing. And I learned 2 things right away. First of all, I learned that I had severely underestimated the volume. I don't know what I was picturing. I guess I thought there'd just be a little wet spot on the front of my underwear, then I could fall asleep. But the next thing I knew, I was in a lagoon of my own urine. And the other thing I realized was that once you start peeing, you don't stop peeing. And you might think that everything would have gone away somewhere soaked into the mattress, but this is not a fluffy mattress like you and I sleep on now. This was a summer camp mattress. This was like plasticky, army surplus, take it outside and hose it off kind of mattress. And with good cause, I suppose. But it stayed there in a depression, the shape of my body. And I thought, well, I've done it. Time to go to sleep. But if it's hard to sleep when you have to go to the bathroom, and it's even harder to sleep when your bed is cold, it is impossible to sleep when you're waist deep in 2 inches of your own urine. So I didn't know what to do. So I did the only thing I could think of that might possibly help. I got out of bed, and I opened the window above my bed, and I walked over to my counselor's room. He had the only room with a door that closes, and I knocked on the door. My counselor was this guy named Bubba. Bubba was that rare combination of cool and nice. that you really like to have in a counselor. You know, the kind of guy who made sure that you got picked for the kickball team, but then he also did this thing where he and his friend Noose ate food and then pulled the chewed food out of their mouths and then ate each other's chewed food. You're like, oh my God, Bubba's the coolest man in the world. I really wanted to give a good impression of myself to Bubba, and I was about to try to lie to him. I knocked on the door. Bubba comes to the door. He was half asleep, wearing his boxers, and I'm standing there in my underwear dripping. I said, Bubba, I'm not sure what happened, but my bed is wet. I think the rain came in through the window and landed just on my bed. And if Bubba knew what I was talking about, it didn't register, because all he said was, well, all right, there's another bed at the end of the row that no one's using. How about you just sleep there tonight? Tomorrow's laundry day. We can just toss your sheets in with everyone else's sheets in the laundry. That's the kind of answer I was hoping to get from Bubba. That's what makes him an adult. He can solve problems. Great. So I went and I got changed and I got into the new bed. I got myself situated there and I went to sleep. I woke up in the morning to the most horrifying sight. Everyone was pulling sheets off their bed and tossing them on this big pile for laundry day, and Bubba was standing next to my original bed with his hands on the sheets about to pull them off. And I wanted to jump out of the new bed and say, wait, Bubba, hold on, no, but I couldn't do that because I didn't want to bring any attention to what was going on. And so all I could do was just lie there and hope and pray that the urine stain was going to be ambiguous. It was not ambiguous. It was this oval of deep yellow in the center of the white sheet with a ring of cobalt blue around the outside. And Bubba actually held it up and looked at it. And another kid saw, and he said, "What's that?" And Bubba looked at the sheet, and he looked over at me, and Bubba said, That's just the pattern that the rain made when it came in through the window." And he took the sheet and he folded it up and he tossed it on the pile with all the other sheets. And I just wanted to get more sheets on that pile. I wanted to pile that pile to the sky. I wanted to fill it with sheets, so I got out of my new bed and I whipped the sheet off, and Timmy the toucan goes flying in this majestic arc across the bunk, and he lands on the ground at Bubba's feet. And at that moment, Bubba loses the ability to cover for me. He reaches down and he picks Timmy up by one wing, and holds him out like this, like he's a piece of garbage. And he says, "Is this yours?" I said, "Yeah." I took Timmy back and I put him in the drawer. Bubba didn't say anything else about this incident for the rest of camp, but he didn't have to. It was 3 days until I could leave summer camp and go home. And Timmy spent 3 more nights inside his series of plastic bags in my bottom dresser drawer. Thank you.